Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pickleball and Politics, where I combine my quest to stay out of the kitchen with my passion for politics. As you all know, it's almost 2024, and I wanted to do today what so many other people are doing, their own little personal year in reviews. So I kind of wanted to tell you what I thought were the top 5 stories this past year. Now, there are thousands and thousands of stories. But as far as this affects us going forward, I believe, for me, these were the top 5. At number 5, the Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th. And not because of the geopolitical effects, but more so how it affected this country, mostly our college campuses, with the rise of protests, the pro-Palestinian protests that were going on everywhere, the attacks on Jewish students in their college dorms and dining halls, the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses. But mostly, I think it affects us the most in how it exposed so many college presidents as literally utter woke fools who have their own agenda, their progressive agenda, and they will literally refuse to back down from that progressive agenda. The best is how it's exposed Harvard's President Gay. It's just been unimaginable how poorly these people performed. These are the presidents. Those ladies were the presidents of the top universities in America when they appeared before Congress. And yet they came off as utterly clueless. Since the Harvard President Gay, she's had all kinds of plagiarism and lifting people's work, etc., been exposed. So the attack by Hamas on Israel has so many geopolitical implications. But for me, it kind of highlighted the utter wokeness that's happening on American campuses and exposed it. And hopefully for the better, because it's time for all of this woke agenda to end. And it has to end in the colleges. It just has to end there first. Number 4 for me was the rise and fall of Kevin McCarthy. I can remember that night back in January of 2023 when he was begging Matt Gaetz. And he made one concession to Matt, and that was that one member could bring up his ouster. And several months later, what happened? Matt Gaetz brought to the floor, and he got Kevin McCarthy removed as Speaker of the House. It was almost Shakespearean in a way. You know, beg a man to give you what you want, to give you the power, and then he takes it all away from you. And that was Matt Gaetz with the rise and fall of Kevin McCarthy. For me, number 3 was the fast, rapid, almost overnight failure of the Silicon Valley Bank back in March of 2023. Within 2 or 3 days, the second largest bank in America ever failed. I should say the second largest bank to ever fail in America. The largest was Washington Mutual in 2008. This, though, with the Silicon Valley Bank, it happened fast, it happened hard, and as you know, most of it is due to rising interest rates, where most of their deposits were locked into low-interest treasury bills and treasury bonds, and there was a fear it was going to have a domino effect. Thankfully, it didn't at that time. There were several other smaller banks that followed suit, but the major mega crash didn't follow, thankfully. But that doesn't mean it won't. I actually fear at any moment it could happen. And that's probably one of my biggest fears going forward. is when, not if the banks are going to fail. When will the banks fail? For me, number 2, well, the indictments of Donald Trump. Right now, Donald Trump has 91 charges against him across 4 different cases. As you know, 44 federal charges, 47 state charges. And yet, despite it all, he is still number 1 with the Republicans to be the nominee for president of the United States. I mean, what can you say? The more every indictment he gets, his numbers go higher and higher. They just have. You would think eventually somebody would say, let's stop indicting him. It only makes his numbers go up, but they haven't. And that is sort of amazing when you think about it. Let's get 91 charges against us and let's have our poll numbers go up. And for me, the number 1 story this year is the crisis at the southern border. On average, 200,000 illegals are crossing our border a month and have been since Joe Biden has become president. And he just let the gates open. Just let them all come in. Don't stop them. 200,000 illegals a month on average are coming across our I shouldn't just say our southern border, because there's people coming in through the northern border too. And they're getting whatever they want. They're getting housing, they're getting food, they're getting medicine, they're getting an education. Everyone that I see around the metropolitan Boston area, the women who are of childbearing age are bearing a child real soon. They all seem to be pregnant. And you know what that means? They're not going anywhere, unfortunately. Hopefully we can turn this immigration nightmare around, because we don't even know who we're importing, who's arriving. We don't know if they're criminals. Were they criminals? Most are military age men. The whole thing is a utter disaster, and it's going to cripple America, not just in the short term. Right now, there's 150,000 illegals that New York City is having to house. They got nowhere for them. The mayor, he's stopping the buses from coming in now because he's like, sorry, can't do anymore. I'm done. We can't do this anymore. This is a huge crisis. I don't know when it's going to stop, how it's going to stop. I know Mayorkas and the other guy. I can't think of his name right now. I should know it. I think it was Blinken, was it? Anyways, they went down and they were talking to, I think it was Blinken. I just had a mental there. Went down to Mexico this week to try to stop the latest 12,000 in a caravan trying to come. Well, how about we stop supplying the food and the water and the tents and everything else that these caravans are being provided for, with all the Catholic charities and all these other do-good charities that are out there. They're the ones that are making them comfortable as they make that trek up through Central and South America into Mexico, into the States. It's outrageous. Is this going to cripple America for literally decades to come? And so that's my top 5. I had the attack on Hamas because of how it affected our colleges here in America and the people running the college and how we exposed them. Kevin McCarthy, the bank failure of Silicon Valley Bank, the indictments of Donald Trump, and the crisis at the southern border. Actually, just the illegal crisis in general. On a personal note, I want to talk about a few little things. First of all, a year ago, my daughter bought me this mic for Christmas. And she said, I know, Ma, you're talking about starting a podcast. Here's your microphone. And it has been something that went from, I think I'm going to have a podcast, or maybe I'll start a podcast, to having a podcast now. And having like 80-something videos now. I am so happy. So many of you have been on this journey with me. And it's been sort of great. I've told you all many times, I wish everybody would get on a mic and wish everybody would start a podcast and all just start talking and telling the world what you think. I think we don't have enough dialogue in this world. So starting this podcast personally has been one of my big stories for the year. Also, we have my pickleball. Let's not forget pickleball. This is Pickleball and Politics. I got to say, this has been an amazing year on my pickleball journey. As you know, when I first started, I couldn't get that damn serve in if my life depended on it. And now I get like 90% of them in. I mean, I don't stop practicing that serve. I keep on practicing. I went out there. I reworked my serve. But the pickleball has been amazing also. And in terms of politics, I've been to so many rallies this year. I've seen so many interesting and great people. I went to the Turning Point conference in July where I saw just a host of people from Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, and a whole host of other people. I could go on and on, Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and so many others. And then I've also seen Donald Trump 2 other times. I saw Vivek Ramaswamy 3 other times. I got to see Nikki Haley and Chris Christie and Ron DeSantis in his heels. And I told you there was something funky going on with those boots then. So politically, it has been sort of a great year for me too, going to all these rallies. As we approach 2024, I want to wish you and your families the best of health and happiness. I'm afraid it's going to be a rough year, but we're not going to stop. We're going to keep on coming on here and we're going to keep on talking. And I hope you keep on listening and I hope you keep on leaving me comments because you know you can reach me on Instagram or on Getter at Pickleball and Politics. You can go to Twitter or X as they're calling it these days, Pickle and Paul. You can go to my website, pickleballandpolitics.com, or you can reach me on my YouTube channel, Pickleball and Politics. Leave me a message, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff people beg you to do. I'm going to beg to. Leave me a comment. I love your comments, and as you know, I answer you back. All right, until next time, I will see you next year, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Until next year, I'll see you soon on Pickleball and Politics. Happy New Year, everyone.